Hey guys, happy Saturday to everybody. It is snowing like crazy, literally as we speak. I wanted to come on because I want to make a video, and you'll see from the title what the chat will be about. It's another sensitive topic. I like to discuss these things because these are conversations we all have with our friends or amongst other collectors on a regular basis. And so I like to shed some light on my thoughts on these types of subjects. And also, it's always to kind of get, people talking, because I think it's important, as always, to be heard and just to talk about things. I think it's very healthy to talk about things. So we've got little Rowan here, who, you guys, I don't think you've seen him in a little bit. I'm going to change him. Clearly, I just took his clothes off of him. I'm going to put him in a jackety outfit. And probably should have brought scissors in. And I'm not sure. I'm kind of going to play around with the socks and shoes. I'm not sure what I'll go with, but we'll see. We'll check it out. So this is it's like a wool knitted overalls or romper. I don't know what we call these. Jackety has their own names for things versus what we call them in the U.S. Because it's French. It's a French company, so they word things differently. I'm going to put this onesie on with it. It's got the little bird in the Eiffel Tower. So let's get into it, guys. Today's topic is going to be on, it's all about anonymity when we buy dolls in the community. I've seen some heated debates pop up on Facebook. I've heard people talk about it in videos. I've seen people, when they post things for sale, they don't want to post prices because they want to remain anonymous. They don't want people to know what they, one, are selling the doll for, but they also, like, the community versus someone that's interested. Obviously, you got to know what the doll sells for if you're buying the doll. But they make you reach out to them personally versus showing a price on the post type of thing. And that irritates a lot of collectors because they don't want to have to contact somebody. They want to know if they're, just browsing through one of the forums and dolls for sale, whether it's something they can even afford up front or, they don't want to waste someone's time, So, but the reasoning behind it usually generally is that I want to keep the potential buyer's information anonymous so they don't have to share with everybody what they paid for the doll. So there's definitely two sides to this conversation, I think. And I don't feel super strongly really one way or the other, to be honest. That's me being completely transparent with you guys. I don't really have a strong feeling about this particular subject, but I know others do. So I'm going to kind of talk about both sides of it. And I've seen over the years in doll collecting, like, the benefits to knowing what someone paid for a doll within the community. I also see and understand why a lot of artists, especially when they're doing auctions, or they keep people's identity private. Artists like to keep people's identities private. They don't share that with other people. They don't tell people who they sell their dolls to. And I respect that, because who knows what one feels or thinks about, having the reborn or doll collecting community knowing what they paid for the doll. But the flip side to that, so there is a flip side. The flip side is if you are someone who posts and shares your dolls on social media, like, the rest of us will figure it out eventually. So as much as I think that it's fine for people to want to, keep their doll business private and not have it just out there for the whole, all of the Facebook group community, or just in general, anything that you're buying off of a social media platform, I can understand why you may not want someone to know. But if you do share your dolls, people they'll figure it out. It's also like, even though if you, do an auction on eBay, when you share the doll and people see that you have the doll, they can go to eBay and say, oh yeah, that's what they paid for it. So as much as people want to be private, like, if you share publicly, it's hard to keep that information private. So, like I said, I don't really, my thought is, and after being in this community for years and years and years, I like to share my dolls. It's part of the fun of my way of collecting. It's part of the fun to enjoy the hobby for me, is to be able to share my dolls on social media platforms. And, you know, it started off as I was sharing my dolls in Doll Fan, on the Doll Fan forum. And so people knew what people were spending because we saw what dolls were coming and going. We saw the auctions because that was like the big way that most people bought back then. Or we saw posts that were for sale and we saw what the selling price was for, you know. So it was just never a real big deal that I could tell, that I could see. But then I saw conversations coming up where, you know, different artists wanted to keep the anonymity for the buyer. So if buyers don't want their family or friends or whatever to know what they're, you know, buying dolls for. And that for me is kind of like, my opinion on that is essentially like, I don't care if my family finds out necessarily. My family doesn't pay any attention, nor would they even have the means to figure it out. Like, they just still don't pay attention to, and they're not part of the groups, so they wouldn't be able to see that stuff anyways. But I'm not ashamed, or I don't feel embarrassed about what I've spent on my dolls. There's times where I've definitely overspent a lot. And it is what it is. It's kind of part of being in a hobby. You know, we spend a lot of money on these dolls. Some of us more than others. And if someone were to find out, to me, it just doesn't matter. I don't care, because ultimately, if I go to sell the doll later on, I'm going to have to disclose what I paid for the doll anyways. Or I generally do, because I think it's smart to, so people know what the initial investment was. So they also know, wow, how I arrived at the price. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that most of the time, people figure out what you paid. So is it really that super important for everybody to keep their anonymity with doll sales? That's a question for you guys, because to me, I don't care if people find out, especially other collectors. I don't care if other collectors find out what I've spent. I've actually been known to, you know, to settle a dispute, a conversation about what I purchased a specific doll for. I've actually come on and made a video and shared and shown my PayPal receipts because there was such controversy about a specific doll that I bought, and people thought I was trying to price gouge when selling the doll, when in fact I literally sold the doll for what I paid for. And I came on to kind of settle it so people would stop talking about it, because there was nothing shady about it. I am very big about transparency. I've talked about it in multiple videos, and I think especially when we're buying and selling, these are expensive dolls. We want people to feel comfortable. So I have no problem kind of sharing all of that information. And it just kind of is part of being in the community. Like, people know what I spent on my dolls typically, you know, if you buy it directly from the artist, if it was like just like an open edition, or, you know, like Claire used to do you basically placed your order and it was a custom doll done in an edition. So she would post all that information right on the website. So most of the time, like, especially, you know, from a certain time period back, you can go to an artist's website and you can see what they sold the dolls for previously, especially if you're buying on the secondary market and you don't know what someone spent. All that information is usually out there. If they sold the doll via eBay, you can usually go find old eBay auctions to find out what the doll originally sold for. So, I mean, there's ways to find out. So, I mean, unless you're not the first mom, you know, it's just going to be whatever you tell someone you purchased the doll for. But if it's, you know, directly from an artist and you're the first mom, it's not that difficult to figure it out, quite honestly. So I'll interrupt myself. I'm not sure which socks I should go for. So I can do knee highs, but I don't know. I don't know. Knee highs on boys, I don't know. These, I don't know. Let's try it, but I'm going to put these shoes on. So I might as well we'll start with the dark color, because this is like a dark gray. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, do I want him in the knee highs? Because it's winter out, but I love this. This is definitely a winter, like, it's like a wool blend. It's so pretty and nice. So I'm just going to try them as we're talking. But so on the flip side, like, even though we can figure out what people bought for the dolls that they have, yada, 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 I also understand from a collector's standpoint why someone might not want their business out there. There are a lot of very private collectors. And especially with a lot of these silent auctions that are going on when they happen, I can totally understand someone maybe not wanting to disclose that, especially if someone doesn't share their dolls on social media. I can totally understand why someone wouldn't want their business out there. And there really are, like, as much as we see like so many collectors that do share on social media, there are so many that don't. They don't put it out there for the whole world to see what their dolls are and what their collection is. And, you know, they might visit our doll groups, right? But they might not be ones for sharing. So ultimately, I like that. I think that's what I'm going to stick with. Ultimately, they're very private. And I know many collectors that still collect that I knew from years ago on DollFan, and they've never been really big into sharing on social media, but I know they have a fabulous collection. I know them from over the years. It's just they don't have to share on social media and get the thousands of likes for them to enjoy their collection. You know, it's all the difference of how we collect. So I totally see that side of it as well, but those are also the very private collectors that don't sell on social media either. You know, so these are collectors that you'll see will sometimes pop up on eBay, or they're doing what a lot of us do that have been in the community for any length of time, is you have people that tell you they're interested, your friends that know about the doll perhaps. They might use eBay. It really just depends. And then there are some collectors that never sell their dolls. There is this population of collectors, and I know some long-time collectors that have amazing doll collections, because they've never sold their dolls regularly. They don't sell to buy. I have always sold them on to buy new ones, so I never have a buildup of dolls because I don't have a ton of space for them, or whatever your reasoning is. But I know several collectors that actually they have never sold a doll, or they sell very rarely, and they just have an amazing huge collection, or they just don't buy as many dolls. But like, there are private collectors out there, so I totally get that side of it. But I'm just kind of throwing out there that if you share on social media and you have this very sought after high-end doll or something that's very well known that you either bought in a silent auction or on eBay or what have you, or even directly from the artist, whatever. If you post and share the doll, people will figure out, especially if it was public, you know, an auction that was public, or something that was posted on the artist's website or on the artist's Facebook page or whatever. People figure it out. So I guess to me, it's like, someone's going to find out anyways. I share it anyways, no big deal. But I understand both sides of the coin, is what I'm trying to say. There's definitely some that feel very strongly, and I'd love to hear your viewpoint, because I don't have really a strong viewpoint on it either way. I'd love to hear your feedback and you as a collector personally, how you feel about it, and just have a discussion, I guess. I find that there are some people that are like adamant though, and they feel very, very strongly. They don't waver in that whatsoever. And then there are those that could take it or leave it. It's fine one way or fine the other, and don't really care either way. And then there's some that feel like everybody should be transparent, and it shouldn't be like hidden or kept secret, so to speak, you know. So I know that I want people to be respectful by sharing, because I'm open to hearing both sides. Like I said, I don't feel one way or another. I feel like it just, either way would be fine for me. I understand both sides of it. But I'd love to have like a discussion for people to feel free to share their thoughts, you know, on this topic. Because I think that talking about it really is good for the community to know and understand others' perspectives. Every time I make a video about something like this, or, you know, I do a lot of topic videos that most of the time I feel really specifically one way or another about. But I like to hear, and I know people find this hard to believe, but I do like to hear other varying, differing opinions than mine, because it does shed light and enlightens me to see it a different way. And I think that's also important, because I can only share what I feel based on my experiences and what I've gone through or have had happen to me that shapes how we feel about different things. So when I hear someone else's, you know, perspective, it really does help me understand, you know, someone that may feel completely different from me, but I can comprehend why they feel the way they do. It really is just a healthy way to discuss. So feel free to comment. Give me your thoughts. Do you think it's important to have anonymity in our doll collecting community? Are you kind of like, it doesn't matter to me either way? Or are you, nope, everybody should share their information. It should be widespread knowledge to know what people paid for their dolls, all of that. I think that it's an interesting topic for sure, especially with, I tell you what, especially with what I've spent on dolls over the years. Good grief. I don't even want to, I've never added up what I've spent over the years on dolls. I think it would shock me. I really think it would shock me to the amount that I've spent over the 21 years I've been collecting. So we're just not going to do that, but you know, it's just one of those things, you know, when you're in a hobby, you spend a lot, you invest a lot of money in your hobby. We all do. And a lot is relative. It's, you know, $100 is a lot to one person, and then to another person, like, you know, they average $10,000 of spending on different things, dolls, such, all of that. So it really is all relative to what we call a lot, and it also matters and depends on how long you've been in the hobby. Let's face it, the longer you've been in the hobby, the more likely you've spent a lot more. I mean, you know, that's not always the case, but you know, it is, I've spent a lot over the years. And, you know, I just think it's part of the territory. I guess that's why you know, if someone doesn't want to share the information, it's fine. But if they want to see the information, I'm fine with it as well. I'm just sitting right on the middle fence, guys. So share your viewpoints. I'd love to hear. But oh my gosh, doesn't Rowan look like just the cutest little boy? He looks like such a little man. He's so cute. I love this on him. It's really, really sleek. And I'm glad I went with the dark socks. I think that's a nice balance. And then his little gray, little boy shoes. He's so cute. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I just want to hear what you guys have to say about it. I've seen some arguments, though. That's why it's kind of like I've seen some back and forth on this over the years. And I don't think I've ever really talked about it. I don't think I've ever really shared my thoughts on it. So, yeah, here it is. So let me know your thoughts. Feel free to comment. Do it in a respectful way is all I like to say. Is if you're going to comment, I like to hear everybody's talk about this. I want the feedback and thoughts, but do it in a respectful way. That's all I'm saying. You know, even if you agree with a comment or agree with what I'm saying or disagree or whatever, being polite about it is always a good thing. So anyways, that's it for today, guys. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Like I said, it's very snowy here and very cold and blustery and blowy, but I'm still got him in his little bare legs, but that's okay. It's warm in my house. But anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.